Iran bounced back in World Cup qualifying with a victory against North Korea. But despite achieving a better result than the previous match, the same concerns remain. It is time for Team Melli Talk, but it is not a good time to be talking about Team Melli. The boys were ready to face North Korea at the Azadi Stadium in Tehran. Hey everyone, welcome back to Team Melli Talk. Before we begin, make sure to check out our store. We have green Team Melli jerseys, green Team Melli shirts, Team Melli scarves, and new coffee mugs with your favorite Team Melli footballers. Perfect for your morning chai. Now let's take a look at Iran's starting lineup against North Korea. Hossein Hosseini getting the start and goal. 7 changes from the starting 11 we saw in the previous match against Qatar. The biggest surprise had to be 19-year-old Amir Mohammad Razaginia in midfield. Taremi would be supported by wingers Hashim Nejad and Mohebi. When looking back at the starting lineup, I gotta share that I was definitely happy with what I saw because it was great to see Galanoui using a 4-3-3 formation with Mehdi Taremi as the lone striker, and this is how Iran looked for the first 30 minutes of the match. Taremi had 2 opportunities to score, but his best chance in the 14th minute was saved very nicely by the North Korean keeper. Mohammad Mehdi Mohebi had an attempt from long range, but his shot went wide. In the first 30 minutes, Iran actually had 6 long balls and was unable to get into a good rhythm offensively, and this was because the North Koreans were being more physical and they were actually winning more challenges in the air. But at the half-hour mark, Amir Mohammad Razaginia was injured on a 50-50 challenge and he ended up being replaced 3 minutes later. Now this was the moment when I became irate, because Amir Mohammad Razaginia got injured and it immediately came to my head that this would be the perfect opportunity to put in Javad Hossein-Nejad. But that is not what happened. Instead, Amir Galanoui surprised everyone with a double switch. He brought on Shahriar Moganlu to replace Razaginia, and he also brought on Saleh Hardani to replace Arya Yousefi. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that Amir Galanoui did not like what he saw on the pitch. By bringing on Moganlu, Galanoui immediately switched from a 4-3-3 to his traditional 4-4-2 formation, with Moganlu as a striker and Taremi playing as a false 9. And by bringing on Saleh Hardani, this also showed that Galanoui was not happy with the play of Arya Yousefi. Okay, now getting back to the match, how did Shahriar Moganlu perform when he got onto the pitch? Well, he had one of the worst missed goals in Team Melli history. Taremi took advantage of a giveaway, got the ball to Mohebi. Mohebi set up Moganlu with a perfect pass. He had a wide open net to shoot into, and he missed. The shot went wide. And of course, it was not surprising that Moganlu's blunder went viral on social media. The match was scoreless at the half, but Iran obviously should have been winning. When looking back at the last part of the first half, we immediately saw Iran's offense being more fluid and comfortable with the change in formation and with Mehdi Taremi becoming the focal point of the offense. But this still was not a good decision by Amir Galanoui. There was nothing riding on this match against North Korea, and this was the perfect opportunity to try out something different. Anyway, 11 minutes into the second half, Hashim Nejad was replaced by Amir Hossein Hosseinzadeh. I was obviously happy to see Hashim Nejad in the starting lineup, but this was a good substitution because Hashim Nejad really struggled against North Korea, whether he was holding on to the ball for too long or simply giving the ball away. In the 67th minute, North Korea was reduced to 10 men when Kai Tam was sent off after receiving his second yellow card. Iran finally found the breakthrough 8 minutes later when Mohammad Mehdi Mohebi scored his first ever goal for Team Melli. 3 minutes later, it was Mehdi Taremi who made it 2-0 for Iran. And in stoppage time, Amir Hossein Hosseinzadeh put on the finishing touches as he also scored his first ever goal for Team Melli. A 3-0 win for Iran, but this was not a convincing victory. Amir Galanoui once said that it was time to integrate younger players into the national team in time for the World Cup. These were his words right after Iran was eliminated from the last Asian Cup. Galanoui's decision to sub out Yousefi in the first half was absolutely ridiculous. Some Iranian football fans obviously would have certain questions in this situation. First off, was Arya Yousefi playing like a top-notch right back in the first half? Well, no, he wasn't. But was he playing so horribly that he needed to be subbed out right away? Absolutely not. If Amir Galanoui was so eager to get Hardani on the pitch, he could have waited for the start of the second half. I have another quote from Amir Galanoui that I would like to share from 1 year ago. Let's read it together. Youth development should happen at the youth and club level, not at the national team. If Yousefi had more international experience, he would not have made the same mistake. You saw that he specifically mentioned Arya Yousefi. And of course, Galanoui is referring to a giveaway from Arya Yousefi that resulted in a goal for Hong Kong last year. Well, throughout World Cup qualifying, we have seen some of Iran's veteran players make plenty of mistakes. I think we know the mindset of Amir Galanoui, and it's obviously somewhere along the lines of where it's okay for the veteran footballers to make mistakes, but it's not okay for the younger footballers to make mistakes. In my opinion, this is absolutely pathetic. Next, in the 87th minute, Amir Galanoui made 2 more substitutions. He brought on Amin Hazbavi to replace Aref Agassi, and he brought on Javad Hossein-Nejad to replace Mohammad Mehdi Mohebi. I have asked this question before, and I will ask it again. How can we expect to see younger footballers integrated into the national team of Iran if Amir Galanoui doesn't trust them or show any confidence in them? The next thing to share for this analysis involves Iran's play in the second half. Prior to North Korea being reduced to 10 men, Iran wasn't particularly very impressive. Taremi remained the focal point of the offense, but North Korea created opportunities by taking advantage of Iran's slow transition defense and by also pressing Iran's center backs. We saw the same tactics that we have seen throughout World Cup qualifying, attacking from the flanks and whipping balls into the penalty area. And this wasn't surprising, especially because the North Koreans were playing a low block for most of this match. Shahriar Moghadlou came close to scoring in the second half, but his struggles continued and his day was obviously defined by his huge miss late in the first half. As for the man of the match, Mohammad Mehdi Mohebi. Mohebi definitely earned man of the match honors. He scored a goal, he got an assist, and he was very solid with his ball distribution skills and his passes. I liked what I saw from Mohebi, and he has a good shot at getting invited again to Team Melli. World Cup qualifying is done for Iran, and here is the final Group A table. Iran finishing top of the group, and Uzbekistan also qualifying to its first ever World Cup. Now to finish off this edition of Team Melli Talk, I want to get straight to the point because I'm not in the mood for some kind of dramatic speech. The Amir Galanoui we see now is no different than the Amir Galanoui who was the head coach of Iran from 2006 to 2007. He is still stubborn, he is still delusional, and he is still stuck in his ways. He doesn't call up the best players, he doesn't put the best players on the pitch, and his substitutions are horrible. But worst of all, he shows favoritism towards certain players, and he's okay with throwing other players under a bus. The bottom line is that Team Melli needs a new head coach. I hope a change is made, but right now, I'm not very optimistic.